Vraja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana
Yashodanandana
Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari 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 Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunadhira Vanachari Yamunadhira Vanachari Yamunadhira Vanachari Hira Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gauranikai Jaya Gauranikai Gauranikai Jaya Gauranikai Gauranikai Jaya Gauranikai Gauranikai Jaya Gauranikai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande. Mangalacharan, please. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpataru Vescha Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mukam Karoti Vachalam Vangam Langayati Girimet Kripatamam Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarana Parmananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for coming for this Sunday feast program and attending this session. My talk today would be on a simple topic, quality of quota. That would be the name of the topic, and it will be based on a Upanishad, a verse from Upanishad. It's called Isha Upanishad. Ish means Supreme Lord, and Upanishad, we will come to know what is this Upanishad about. What is it talking about? What is this quota about? So, when we talk of Upanishad belongs to the Vedas. Veda means knowledge, and Vedic knowledge is what we are trying to follow. In Vedas, you have lot of hymns. These hymns are supposed to be meant for glorifying demigods and the Supreme Lord. All right. And Upanishads basically are conclusion of the Vedas. So why Upanishads? Why Vedas in this modern world? Let us understand whether really they lead to something practical for us or not. See, in this Upanishad, the word itself goes like this. Upa. Upa means near. All right. And ni means down. So you do what? You sit down near whom? A spiritual master. Or in the Vyasasan, one represents Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva, because he is the one who has written all these Vedas. Don't think that he has actually compiled the Vedas. They were already there. He has just got them written in written form. This is the reason why Vedas are called eternal. They have not come from, it is not that only this particular period we get Vedas. No, they have been there since ages, and they will be there for times we don't know when. All right. So you sit down before spiritual master and learn. So that's the Vedas. Now, number slide. Source of Vedas. Our famous Bhagavad Gita, it talks about a particular verse in chapter 15, verse 15, Purushottam Yoga. It says, Vedas, the source is Krishna only. Why? How come? So Krishna actually gave Vedas to Brahmaji. And who is this Brahmaji? All these names. Brahmaji is the first living being in this universe. And we are living in a particular universe, aren't we? We are. So Brahmaji is the first person who was born. Who gave him birth? Vishnu gave him birth. And he got to know Vedas. Then what happened? Next slide, please. Then the Vedas got disseminated. So Brahmaji, his son is Narada. Brahmaji told the Vedas to his son. Yeah, so Narada is like a devotee. So Narada came to know. From Narada, then Vyasdev actually came to know, because Vyasdev is the spiritual master of, Narada is a spiritual master of Vyasdev. And from Vyasdev, Madhavacharya came to know. And we are in it's called a Sampradaya. Sampradaya means disciplic succession. That comes from Brahmaji, then Narada, Vyasdev, and Madhavacharya. So the knowledge that we are getting is authentic. Yeah, I am building this base. Because then Ishopanishad will say something and we will not believe in whatever Ishopanishad says. So let us proceed. This disciplic succession has come all the way down to Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Have you seen Bhagavad Gita as it is book? You have seen? Yes. Have you noticed that after the introduction chapter, there are a whole lot of names? Yes, he has. Anyone else? Yes, you have. All of you have. Most of you have. Anyone has not seen that particular list of names, starting from Krishna down to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada? If you have not, we will help you to see. That is called disciplic succession. Means it is not that there are names. It means that there is knowledge coming from Krishna all the way down to A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada has put all that knowledge in the form of books, and we are getting these books. And based on these books, we are coming to know. Next slide, please. Yeah. This Ishopanishad that we are trying to discuss about is part of the Vedas. There are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda. These are names, but actually what happened, Brahmaji has 4 heads and he got 1 Veda. Single knowledge. Krishna will not give multiple knowledge. Obviously, Krishna has whole lot of subject matters to impart, but he gave 1 Veda. Then Brahmaji thought, these are Kali Yuga people for whom I am writing, so let me break the Vedas into 4. So he broke the Vedas into 4. Anyway, he has 4 heads. You know that? So from each head, 1 Veda came out. And then the dissemination took place. So part of Yajur Veda is this Ishopanishad. Then Brahmaji's son is Manu, Swayambhuva Manu. Swayambhuva Manu is also one who was born out of Brahmaji. Brahmaji did not require a wife to give birth to Swayambhuva Manu. But Swayambhuva Manu, see, any day of Brahma's day and our day is 12 hours? Out here it is less than 12 hours. I come from India. India is like 12 hours. And one day of Brahma is very, very, that's a huge period. One day of Brahma. Within that one day of Brahma, there are 14 kings. They are called Manus. They are kings of the universe. All right. So the first Manu was Swayambhuva. He had his daughter was Akuti. Akuti got married to a son of Brahmaji by name Ruchi, and they had a son. That son, by the name of the son was Yagya. And you know, Yagya means sacrifice. When you perform sacrifice, what happens? When you perform sacrifice, you are actually glorifying Vishnu. You are glorifying the Supreme Lord. You know what is the best type of sacrifice for this age? Sankirtan Yagya. Yagya is sacrifice. How come Sankirtan means you are only calling the name of the Lord? How can it be sacrifice? So it can be explained like this. Say, in a sacrifice, have you seen? There would be a particular area, there would be fire, and there will be some mantras. Mantras means some hymns which will be sung, and clarified butter would be put so that the fire keeps lighted. Where is clarified butter in Sankirtan Yagya? Yeah. So you can consider your tongue to be like a spoon, and the clarified by butter is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And where has this butter to be placed? In the ear. When it is placed in the ear, where does it go? It goes to the heart. And who resides in the heart? Krishna resides in the heart in the form of Paramatma. You know how Paramatma looks like? You have an idea? Anyone? How Paramatma looks like? No idea? Paramatma, you don't know how he looks like? Beautiful. Paramatma, his expansion. Paramatma is four-handed. Paramatma is inside in the heart. Four-handed in the heart? Can you believe it? But our scriptures, our Vedas say the Paramatma is four-handed, and he, you know what? He has Sankha. Sankha means conch shell. Chakra means a wheel. Sankha Chakra. Gada. Gada means like a mace. And Padma, a flower. A flower inside. A mace inside. A wheel inside. A conch shell inside. What is going on? But this is our scriptures. See, you know what? When we proceed in our Krishna consciousness, we start with what is called Shraddha. Shraddha means faith. And unless we have faith, we can't proceed. Unless we accept what is given out here, you know, there are many types of what is called praman, means evidence. I see something and I believe in it. Seeing is believing. But when I see something, I may make a mistake because there are delusions. I will discuss about that. So what I see may not be right. Even our scientists, they try to see from using microscopes and using telescopes and so many scopes, but still they make mistakes because there was once so-called Newton's law. Then suddenly there came another person called Einstein. So got changed. So Newton's law is standing, but Einstein's law is also there. Then suddenly somebody called Schrodinger came in, and he is also talking about a new law. So many laws, they keep on happening. But how long can we keep waiting? You know what? You know about Walt Disney? Disneyland, Walt Disney? You know his body is still lying somewhere in a particular, is being preserved, his body. You know what is in his will? He had written, whenever man discovers a process of reviving a dead body, I should be revived. So his body is still kept there. Why? Because he did not know about Vedic scripture, nor did he understand, nor did he want to know. If he had known, he would have said, that's it. My time is over. So this is how the Vedas, so this yagya, this entire Upanishad is regarding this yagya. So is being spoken as a, as a glorification of this Lord Yajna. Lord Yajna is non-different from Vishnu, who is residing in the heart. So we are fortunate. So we will be handling or dealing with Ishopanishad. All right, next slide, please. So verse goes like this. Ishavashyam idam sarvam. If you could repeat with me.
Ishavashyamidam sarvam
Yat kincha jagatyam jagat.
yatkincha jagatyam jagat
Tena tvaktena bhunjitha.
tena yaktena bhujita
Ma grida kasyasvit dhanam.
magraya kasyasridhanam.
If you could read the, not the verse, but the translation.
Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord.
Hare Krishna. That's it. That is number one. Everything is controlled and owned by the Lord. Yeah. Second line.
One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself which are set aside as his quota.
Quota. And my topic is quality of quota. So it's coming from Vedas, it's coming from Upanishads. That means it could be relevant. Let us understand. Then the third line, anybody could read? Yes, please.
And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong.
So it's so important to emphasize. I mean, when you have given some instruction, you have to also say what one should not do. So there is a positive part, there is a negative part. If you don't say the negative part, then one can make excuses and like take advantage of a statement. Yeah. So this quota, we understand what is quota. What is the meaning of this word quota? Allotment. Anyone else?
Prescribed allocation. Prescribed allocation.
Yeah.
Prescribed allocation.
Prescribed allocation. Finally, it's allocation. Share, it could be share. Quantity, yeah. It's understanding of quantity, how much quantity. Is the Vedas or is the Upanishad talking about quantity? Is basically what we need to discuss. So, my topic is quality of quota. Let's go ahead. We know from the first line we understood that the verse is talking about the Supreme Lord. And when the moment we talk of Supreme Lord, there are 6 properties or qualities of the Supreme Lord that we need to know. They are his wealth. He is all wealthy. Yeah. He is all strength. All wealthy, I'll tell you. I mean, there was one incident in which he was being weighed with all gold and ornaments and all that. But however amount of gold and ornaments were placed on one side of the scale and Krishna was sitting on another side of the scale, Krishna was always heavy. There was only one thing that made Krishna light. You know what? Tulasi, a tulasi leaf. Otherwise, he is the wealthiest. Then he is all strength. We know that when Krishna was called, Krishna and Balaram, they were called by Kamsa. Kamsa was the ruler of Mathura at that point of time. And Krishna was having nice time in Vrindavan. And he called these 2 boys. You know what was their age? Anybody? 11 years. 10 to 11 years. 10 to 11 years. Is there any child 10 to 11 years? No children today. So there is only one child. And I don't know how old is a child. 3 years. So long way to go. 3 years, like, Kartik month would have been suitable for the child. 11 years old child, he was called by Kamsa to fight. And in the fight, there were some muscle men and he fought, and these muscle men were all defeated by Krishna. So he is all strength and he is all fame. Krishna is all fame. You can imagine, Krishna is sitting in the heart. He has to be all famous. Is all beauty. Krishna himself, when he saw his beauty, he got perplexed. Who is this? So beautiful. Then he is all knowledge, because we know what amount of depth he has imparted when he gave Bhagavad Gita. He also spoke Gita to his cousin brother Uddhava. It's called Uddhav Gita. Then he is all renunciation. You know one thing, if all of us, it actually, like for me also it's valid. If I become proud, Krishna somehow starts avoiding. And that's a very, very dangerous situation if Krishna starts avoiding. So ideally one should not be proud. So these are the 6 opulences of the Lord. And in Brahma Samhita we know Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana means he is the cause of all causes. Krishna. Next slide, please. Krishna is complete. So who knows this maths? 1 minus 1. Anybody?
0.
But what is this? 1 minus 1? What have I written? Or what has the scriptures written? I have not written. Scriptures is writing like this. 1 minus 1 is 1. Means anything you take out of Krishna, he remains complete. So it's said Purnam, Om Purnamada Purnamidam. There are verses like that. He's Purnam. Everything is complete in him. And Lord is proprietor of everything within the universe. Who says so? My house. Lord is the proprietor. My house is my house. It's written. My name is written in that whatever document you would have. My car is in my name. How come Krishna is the proprietor? But the scriptures are saying like this. Krishna is proprietor. Next verse, please. Krishna displays his unlimited potencies. So he's got internal energy. We also got internal energy, don't we? No? Anybody? Internal energy we don't have?
That drives us.
Yes? That drives us to do something, so that internal energy is there. So we know from Bhagavad Gita, the 2nd chapter, that we are supposed to be what? The body. No? We are the mind. We are the mind, we are the body. No. We are soul. So and soul is a spiritual energy of the Lord. Then there are obviously material energies. This body, this mind, these are all material energies. And these are also coming from Krishna. Devi Esha Gunamai Mama Maya Durattaya. Those are my energies, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 14. And Lord is the ultimate controller and doer. How is the doer? I am doing. For example, I have sat for an exam and I have cleared an exam. Didn't I? How come Krishna comes in the picture? He is the doer. I am writing the exam. I have studied so hard. And Krishna says in chapter 3 verse 27 of Bhagavad Gita that Prakriti Kriya Manani. Prakriti is doing everything. Material nature is doing everything. Where is material nature when I am writing an exam? So one has to understand our scriptures are saying it is the material nature. And then Krishna again says in chapter 13 verse 3 of Bhagavad Gita that Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti means that Prakriti which is supposed to be doing for you is under my control. So things look to be bright. Everything that I am doing is not under my control. Now let us understand this. We have a desire. All of us have desire. So we initiate a process. But for execution, we require the material nature. And for execution, you require somebody who should sanction. So there is an initiating cause, there is an executing cause, and there is a sanctioning cause. Our scriptures say like that. So whenever any activity is done, these 3 things are very important. We have to understand. So in chapter 13, verse 3 of Bhagavad Gita, we know that Krishna is in the form of Paramatma, he is the Upadrashta, means he witnesses all our desires, and he's Anumanta. He's the one who sanctions. Whenever we have a desire, whether it will get fulfilled or not, he sanctions. Yeah. Then we know from Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 verse 5, apareyam itastva anyam prakritim vidhi me param. There is another param. Param means a superior energy, and we discussed about the superior energy, that we are supposed to be soul. That superior energy is the living entity, the soul. It's also called jiva. And the superior energy is exploiting the resources of the material energy. This should strike that whenever anybody exploits resources, there has to be a allocation, prescribed allocation. So the word quota comes in the picture. Next verse. Krishna says that all the living entities are my part and parcel. Mamai Vangsho Jiva Loke, chapter 15, verse 7 of Bhagavad Gita. So, if we are part and parcel of Krishna, then obviously, and Krishna is saying that we are supposed to be exploiting, Krishna is saying that he is supposed to be sanctioning, that means we have to somehow orient ourselves slightly differently compared to the paradigm that we understand currently. And maybe there has to be a paradigm shift required. So you know what, when there is fire, from the fire comes out sparks. So we are souls, just like sparks, we are also like souls coming out of Krishna only. So we are basically separated living entities, separated spiritual energies. We have been separated out of Krishna. Krishna has only created us. Question is, if we have been created by Krishna, that means we were also spiritual in nature. So we must have been in the spiritual world. Then what happened to us? Why are we lying in this material world? What did we do that we had to come to the material world? Then Krishna only talks about chapter 7 verse 27 in Bhagavad Gita. He says Ichha Dvesha. These are two very, very important words. This Ichha means desire. We desire to come here. What did we desire? We actually desired to lord it over. We desired to control. That was our desire. And then Dvesha means we started envying. What? Krishna is enjoying? Why should only Krishna enjoy? Why shouldn't we enjoy? That is the reason why we fell down. Fell down means one moment we were in the spiritual world, there is no question of any moment out there. Immediately we are in the material world. And since when are we in the material world? Beginningless. So if beginningless we are in the material world, and we have to and in the material world, I do not know what is our state. We will have to understand what is our state in this material world. And then there is a poem like this: Krishna bohir mukhoya bhagavancha kare nikotastho maya tare jhapotiya dhare. Maya is something new. So Maya is basically illusory energy of the Lord. This Maya catches you the moment you have a desire to lord it over. And where does Maya function? Hare Krishna. Maya functions in the material world. Let us proceed. The various aspects of Maya. Maya works very differently. The moment we are into Maya, means illusory energy, that is Prakriti, we have what is called the three modes of material nature. Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Sattvic is goodness. Don't we do good activities, pious activities? We help others. Don't we give some alms to others, to poor people? We do that. We sometimes also donate to schools, to hospitals, to orphanages, don't we? So some pious activities we do. Then we try to build a very good house for ourselves. We dream of something, we create something new. Don't we create new? So we have passion, and sometimes we sleep, and sometimes we want to extract things which others have and try to consider that to be ours. So then we are in ignorance. These are all ropes of bondage. Because of this bondage, we are binded by what? Our bondage is of birth and death. Today we are born in a particular form, and our scriptures say that we do not know what we were earlier and what we will become later. There are some 88.4 million species, and we can take any birth in any species. So we can become trees, we can become birds, we can become animals. So that's the bondage that we are in. Bondage of birth and death, and we are facing miseries. The miseries like physical and mental ailments, old age, suffering due to others, natural calamities. And another problem we are forced to be defective. We think we are the best, don't we? But we have defects. We commit mistakes. We are in illusion. For example, if you see this particular picture of under illusion, what do you see? Do you see a young lady or an old lady? Somebody sees an old lady. Anyone sees a young lady? So you could see a young lady also, an old lady also. So you do not know. This is all illusion. It's all depends on what our eyes show us. And we have a propensity for cheating. And we have imperfect senses. You know that particular story of those 5 blind people who were trying to ascertain how an elephant looks like, and each of them were holding a particular part of the elephant, and for them that was basically the description of the elephant. So we have imperfect senses. With this, what is the solution? If such is the scenario, quota, accepting one's quota. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, one should accept only those things that are set aside by the Lord as his quota. And quota can be understood how? Ascertained by through instructions. Instructions come from spiritual master, saints, and scriptures. So when we talk of quota, and when we understand that everything is sanctioned by the Supreme Lord, so our quota should also be oriented towards whom? The Supreme Lord. So anything which the Supreme Lord desires, which the Supreme Lord wills, our quota should be oriented accordingly. So we avoid all these miseries. 4 defects, 1 second. Let us discuss quota of wealth. How should wealth be? How should you expect wealth? It should be honorably earned. And there are examples given by our acharyas, who are saints, how to utilize the wealth that one gets. 50% of the wealth ideally should be given for Lord's service. I have never been able to do that, but I knew this particular in so-called example. So I tried my level best. I could at best attain 10%, but even 10% is good, because once you give to the Lord for his service, Lord returns tenfold. What should one do if, I mean, a question is there, what should one do if we find money that belongs to others lying on the ground? Pick it up. Keep it for oneself. And there is one mother is saying, "Hey, give it inside the drop box out here, now the donation box out here." Ideally, you give it to Krishna, because our basically, like, our subject is anything related to Krishna. Then next, property. What is the quota as regards property? Be satisfied whether it's a rental house, owned house, or mortgaged house. Don't have or dream of a property for false prestige. Very dangerous. Oh, you go beyond your, I mean, whatever is the size of the quilt. If your leg goes beyond that, obviously, like in this particular weather, your leg gets cold. So you better have a, I mean, stretch your leg within the size of the quilt. Do not encroach upon others' property, and should be God-centered. Use the property for kirtan, for satsanga, means congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Quota for accumulation. There is sufficient to fulfill everyone's needs, but not for one person's greed. There was this story of Lord Chaitanya. What happened? He was going along with a brahmachari. Brahmachari is one who's a student who studies under a spiritual master by name Govinda Das, and Lord Chaitanya wanted to have what is called Hari Taki. Hari Taki is a herb that is used to give respite to the stomach. Whenever stomach upset happens, then you have Hari Taki. So one day he wanted Hari Taki, and Govinda Das went around and searched for Hari Taki. After some time, he came and gave Hari Taki. Next day, what happened? Govinda Das was asked, "Give me Hari Taki. Again, I am having stomach upset. Give me Hari Taki." And Govinda Das takes out Hari Taki from his bag and gives it. Then Lord Chaitanya says, "You are giving me Hari Taki, and yesterday I asked Hari Taki, you took 1 hour. Today you are giving me within a second. How come?" He said, "I accumulated Hari Taki so that you would require Hari Taki." Then you know what Lord Chaitanya said? He said, "This is this is how a grihastha, a householder, behaves. A householder accumulates. You know, a sannyasi will not accumulate. A brahmachari who stays under the spiritual master, he does not accumulate. Only householders accumulate, and householders are allowed to accumulate. As long as one needs to maintain one's body, one needs to maintain one's family, one can accumulate. But remember one thing, I keep harping on this particular one point. From the very beginning of one's life, one should be thinking of retirement. At the time of retirement, our scriptures say one has to enter into what is called vanaprastha. Van means a forest, almost like living in a forest. When you live in a forest, you don't accumulate. So you should learn the art of not accumulating. Because after having reached vanaprastha, means retirement at the age of 50, 55, whatever, sometimes it is 60 also, but you should plan your retirement from the very beginning. Because it may come as a shocker when you retire. If you are a salaried person, you don't get your salary. If you are a business person and you don't get your profits, it's very dangerous. I know 2 cases, very close to me, they died soon after retirement because they could not accept the fact that they were not engaged. In Nectar of Devotion, we find that you should not accumulate too many books, but you should buy books. It's not that you should not buy books. You should buy books, but you should read them. Yes? Many of us, we buy books. Bhagavad Gita, most of us has. Please read them. Then we should not have too many followers. We should not yearn for, we can have followers, but yearn for followers. They say also we should not have opulent temples, but we need temples where Radha Natavar would reside and where preaching activities would take place. Srila Prabhupada has made it very clear. Temples are required. Places where the Lordship can be glorified. Then quota of work, suitable to one's nature. One can be an intellectual or administrative in nature, mercantile or service oriented. So you accordingly, you adjust yourself. My case, I am more academic in nature, but I was doing a service oriented work. I never liked it. I today regret. I think if I had been in academics earlier, I would have had a peaceful life. The efforts for developing divine consciousness. And who can develop divine consciousness? Our scriptures make it very clear. Anybody can. Anybody can attain Param Gatim. Param Gatim means the supreme destination. Again, quota of work. Avoid work related to irreligious principles. So there are 4 pillars of religion, which is austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. So you should follow these 4 pillars. And you know, we hear about this, thou shalt not kill. So we should profess with strongly that animals and birds we should protect, and children also from abortion. Then quota of food. Our scriptures talk about quota of food. When food is offered as a sacrifice, then it is sanctified food. But otherwise, it's called what? It's called sinful food. Sinful food I am eating only. Why should it be sinful food? See, it is like this. Unfortunately, our scriptures say it is sinful food. Maybe we'll have to believe. That is the reason why I started with this concept of faith. If we have faith, then we know what are the instructions and what is the quota for as far as food is concerned. There are certain times we say that remnants should not be had, but remnants from devotees can be had. We know what type of food is good for us. This is called sattvic food, or food in goodness. These are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. But what type of food we should avoid are too sour, too bitter, salty, hot, pungent, dry, burning. Do you like these type of food? Anyone? Or you avoid those food which are kept more than 3 hours, but unfortunately we have our refrigerators. And food that is tasteless, decomposed, putrid, and food consisting of remnants and untouchable things. Even sleep. Our scriptures, what are they trying to do? They are trying to attack each and every element of our life. Night time, let me sleep properly. But Srila Prabhupada talks about sleeping only 6 hours a day. And he says one who sleeps more than 6 hours out of 24 is certainly influenced by the mode of ignorance. Now it is 8 hours, doesn't matter. Slowly, like once we have come to know this, we will have to gradually take it to 6 hours a day. Once you come to this stage of vanaprastha, that is old age, retirement, automatically becomes 4 hours, 6 hours. So don't worry. At that point of time, if it becomes 4 hours, then you are taking sleeping pill. I'm unable to sleep. No, don't do that. The remaining 4 hours, read the scriptures. That will actually help you. Then quota for married family life. Marriage as per religious principles. Even Srila Prabhupada, he used to be very insistent on this. And he had also conducted marriages during those early days. and regulated sex for Krishna conscious children. This is something extraordinary. There is a concept called Garbhodhan Samskar. And Garbhodhan Samskar is very, very practical and scientific. The children who are born out of Garbhodhan Samskar are mind-blowing. We are a generation, we are non-Garbhodhan Samskar generation. But our next generation, Srila Prabhupada was always like saying that the third generation would be the real force for this particular movement. And maybe more of Garbhodhan Samskar children, they will take the helm of affairs. Quota for recreation. So we keep saying all this, avoid cinema, TV, anti-social media. Why anti? It's social media, it's so nice. Yes, if you can use social media for spreading Krishna consciousness, all right. Keep healthy for service to Krishna. So, result of following. So, if you follow work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu, Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 verse 9, Yagyarthat karmano anyatra, loko ayam karma bandhana. Otherwise, it is bandhana, it's bondage. And we started with bondage, and we wanted to come out of bondage. And we then discussed that it is not just quota, it is quota linked to the Supreme Lord, which is quality of quota. So finally what happens if we follow quota? Then again Bhagavad Gita. Why always Bhagavad Gita when we have started with the Vedas? Bhagavad Gita is part of Vedas only because Bhagavad Gita says that it is the essence of the Vedas. So in chapter 14 verse 26 we get Mam chayo avvavicharena bhakti yogena sevate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And this level of Brahman is basically at the level in which we are leading a very peaceful life and we are heading towards bliss. And Srila Prabhupada has given us an opportunity for attaining this sort of a situation. And don't you think when we have come to know so much of importance of this quality of quota, we should be spreading this particular news to everybody? Yes, see, quality of quota linked to the Supreme Lord is the essence of life. And so in our preaching process also, shouldn't we be like discussing about this? Not only with new people who are eager to know, but also people who want to further their knowledge of the Vedas. Yes? So with this, I close my session. If there are any comments, any corrections, any questions, we have just 2 minutes. Yes, Mother?
You said, Hare
Hare Krishna.
You said that the Paramatma in our heart, the form you described as four-handed with constral, never through a Maharaj as a form. Should we keep that form or Ragini Shakti, Hare Krishna?
You know what Srila Prabhupada has given us? The question goes like this, that we discussed about the four-handed form of Paramatma. Should we have Paramatma, should we absorb in that form, four-handed form, or should we absorb in the two-handed form, the form that we see in front of us? Srila Prabhupada has done us a great service. He has actually he has inspired so many temples across the world. And across the world, we find this two-handed form. And this two-handed form is the source of that four-handed form. So what we have got is a two-handed form. And when we are absorbed in the two-handed form, following Srila Prabhupada, then we are actually taking the correct path. Because in Nectar of Devotion, we have heard about what is called Raganuga Bhakti. In our process of practice, we need to latch on to somebody. Can you do your PhD without a guide? Anybody? PhD without a guide. This is PhD only. To attain the highest perfection is actually PhD. You have to write a thesis on your own. And for that you need a guide. Who is the guide? Spiritual master. And for us, The guide is Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada has given us the highest perfection. Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Yes, Prabhuji.
So thank you so much. So nice to hear from you.
Hare Krishna.
A lot of knowledge. So the question I have is, we understand we have the four, imperfect senses and illusion, and also cheating propensity. And on the other hand, the intelligence is another that plays a big role. Like the spiritual knowledge is coming from the disciplic succession. It cannot be understood by cats and dogs, right? But that's where the human form of life is important. So when we use our intelligence, knowing that these four, imperfections are there, what are the techniques that we can not surrender to these imperfections? Because we often commit mistakes, we have illusion and all. So how can we overcome that, especially within the devotee community?
In a devotee community, how do we use intelligence so that we do not get we do not surrender to the four defects, and we are able to come out of and we are able to follow the path which has been given to us by scriptures as well as Srila Prabhupada and the saints. Yes, what does intelligent do? Intelligent ascertains, determines. And if we determine to be addressed by the four defects, then that's the way, that is the position we are. For example, why these four defects like take control over us? Because of sense objects. What are these sense objects? Sense objects are the form. For example, when we see a form, then all the sound that we hear, all the smell that we get, all the tastes that we have, and all the touch that we are able to do. So all these actually like attract us, and when they attract us, then obviously these four defects they play a role. So form, touch, smell, then taste and sound. If we are able to, by intelligence, avoid the control of these sense objects, then we will be able to avoid the four defects. Now, how do we do that? The only way is follow this particular verse, Ishavashyam verse, where everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord. When we believe in that, and when we orient our intelligence towards the Supreme Lord, we will be able to come out of the four defects. So our basic orientation should be to be with the Supreme Lord. Now, how do we be with the Supreme Lord? The best method is by associating with devotees. There are 5 key limbs of devotional service. One is associating with devotees. 2 is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the holy name. 3 is when we read the scriptures. 4 is when we convert our house into a spiritual place. That means invite devotees home and have satsangs or congregational chanting. And when we do deity worship. Deity worship is so important. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can we take questions later?
Yeah, we can take later.
Because Arati has started, we can take questions later. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpa taru vescha kripa sindhu vaevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo nama. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.